Hey Zoo, why are we looking at a furnace? Well, I'll tell you, friends and neighbors, it's because this piece of crap broke. And, this, along with the heat pump outside, and for good measure, let's just throw in a new water heater. It's all gonna set your buddy Zoo back about $20,000. 20,000. Not 2,000, 20 of the thousands. So it got me thinking, what kind of sponsorship deals can I get? Going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video before too long. And it also got me thinking, what is the cheapest handheld I could possibly review? Because I'm going to be a little bit tight on cash for a while. And I remembered, it's going to be free to me, but $35 for you. It's the Miyoo A30. And I haven't reviewed it since my initial review, so I'm going to try Spruce on it and see if it is a good value for $35. Because sometimes, dads out there, I feel like you can empathize with me. You get some unexpected expenses. It's almost enough to make me want to touch this and result in death or electrical shock, but it's only $20,000. Things will be okay, Zoo. Things are gonna be fine. Hello? Did you just turn off? Hello? Are you gonna wake up? Pause, please. Well, it won't read the SD card because Spruce is shit. Don't use Spruce. It's shit. I don't care what Shem says. I don't care what anyone else says. It has the highest failure rate with SD cards. I'm using the one it came with. Oh, by the way, I also got so pissed off, I installed it and used a SanDisk one. That didn't work either. It opens up once and then it stops reading the SD card. It's shit. Throw it against the wall. It's as broken as my furnace. Now things were getting dire. I was contemplating doing a video on one of these famiclones you can get from Five Below. But then I remembered I had ordered the BatleXP G350. Now for only about $35-ish, you're going to get a tried and true 3326 chip that can play up to PS1. You can try and push it into N64 and Dreamcast, but it's going to be as uneven as a $5 haircut, huh? There's been a lot of internet sleuthing on the Discord, and we're pretty sure this is actually made by Anbernic. Not like, oh, it's kind of like Anbernic. It's made by Anbernic. To the point that our old buddy Todd even got one of these that had an Anbernic business card in the box. It's made by Anbernic. My theory is this is an Anbernic budget spin-off brand using old chips and components they either still have in stock or they got for pennies on the dollar as part of a closeout. Another piece of evidence is that the stock OS on this is extremely similar to the weird emulation station build Anbernic used on the Arc, even down to the way the themes were set up. Now the main draw of a handheld like this isn't going to be price to performance because the 3326 is pretty weak in 2025. No, it's more like price to quality, which is honestly something we don't really focus on that much. With the incorporation of the Anbernic parts and the Anbernic components, you end up with something similar to the R36S, but with dare I say it, solid and proven components. You're also getting a variety of custom firmware right out of the chute. Stock is okay, but the ROMs are a chaotic mess, right? If you have absolutely zero experience, it's a plus that this thing comes with at least a functional operating system with games. But we can do better. And since this is an Anbernic in disguise, I decided to go with AmberElec in disguise, aka Pan4Elec. Your first step, head over to the Pan4Elec GitHub and download the latest release image for the G350. It's called Pan4Elec/RG351MP-350. It's for the 350. Next, you're going to want to extract the image file. Then you're going to flash that image to your SD card and you put it in TF slot 1. After a few seconds, you should see the Pan4Elec boot screen. You let that install, shut down the handheld, take your SD card out, put all your ROMs and BIOS files in the corresponding folders, and easy peasy, you got yourself Pan4Elec. So once you got Pan4Elec installed and your ROMs are loaded, you end up with a really, really solid system. AmberElec has been around for what, like 4 years now? And it's really, really stable and it's fully featured. It's kind of been eclipsed recently by other custom firmwares for different chips, but it's still a solid as hell custom firmware for the venerable 3326. In addition to the older chipset, there's also a couple other cost-cutting measures they have in place. Number one, this doesn't come with Wi-Fi, which is almost certainly a conscious decision by Anbernic, not Anbernic, but really Anbernic, to save like $1 on this. I don't know. But it does work with a dongle. Let's plug this in. You go over to network settings, enable the Wi-Fi. See what we got. Yep, easy peasy. Let me plug in my credentials here. Oh look, we are connected. And we can do cool stuff like scraping. Heck, let's scrape for PlayStation. Let's do games database, this one system, and scrape now. See what happens. So yeah, if you don't mind having this weird thing sticking out of the top, you do have Wi-Fi. You just got to get one of these super cheap dongles. It's not the end of the world, and it's honestly something you see a lot in these super budget models. Now for this particular implementation, I went with a 64GB card with a fairly curated games library. You see there's only 10 PlayStation games on there. If you want to have essentially every single retro game ever, you could always go crazy and put a 256 card in here, but I leaned towards more of a slimmed down model this time. I also added media, since that's something people mention a lot in our comments. And Pan4Elec has a pretty decent media player. We're going to get to that a little bit later. Hey look, my images are scraped. How about that? Let's violently disconnect this dongle, shoot it across the room, and let's do some comparisons. So your primary comparison is going to be with the R36S. I got this from Temu and did a Halloween video on it. Whoa, spooky. But the R36S has slightly more features in that it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on stock, but the buttons aren't nearly as good as the buttons on here. Steady. And it's not as reliable because guess what? Put this thing away a month or two ago and it gets to ArcOS and it just doesn't really do anything beyond that screen. But while we wait in vain for this to boot, we can see that it is very, very similar, roughly the same size. I think this is maybe a little bit thinner. The main point of difference are the shoulder buttons. Now the BatleXP has the shoulders kind of sloped. They're subtly different. You can feel the difference. These are more flat. I don't mind when the shoulders are like this, but there's definitely a more ergonomic balance when they're kind of angled like that. Another very similar handheld here is the 353V, which I really, really like. This was one of my favorite handhelds from a couple years ago, but you can see there's a lot of similarities in the overall construction, which, I mean, aside from the business card that said Anbernic, these sort of things really make you think it's made by the same company. It has the same kind of feel to the D-pad. It has the same button locations generally. It may honestly have the same exact screen, but the buttons are what really make me think this is Anbernic, because this had solid buttons and solid controls, and so's this. Get out of here, 353V. This also has a 3200 milliamp hour battery. See, it says right there, 3200 mAh. What that means is you're going to get, about 6 hours of gameplay on this. Probably a little bit more if you're playing lower end stuff. It's not 5,000 milliamp hours. You're not going to be able to play this all day, but it's a solid, reliable budget battery in a solid, reliable budget handheld. The screen on this thing is super, super vibrant. I really like it. Let's see if I can nail this shot. Right into the tree. Zoo, you idiot. One of the reasons it's so vibrant is you can adjust all your gamma settings over here. I really like this P4 preset, but you can go in there and you can tweak everything as much as you want. You end up with a really vibrant, a properly saturated, and a bright and just all around beautiful screen. I really, really like the screen on this thing. The speaker on here is actually really decent for what it is. And again, this is a $35 handheld. Comes out of this one little port on the bottom here. Pretty good. The stick on this is actually pretty decent, especially for arcade games, which is good because this runs arcade games pretty well. Pay attention, Zoo. Get up, Zoo. Now, lastly, a lot of people in our comments always mention how they use these as media players. This thing has a 3.5-inch 480p screen, and it's 4x3, so any retro media is going to look pretty good on here. I have a digital VHS converter, but it would be a lot easier for most people if there was some sort of archive of VHS tapes you might find on the internet. Huh? Maybe go back and listen to that a couple times, put it together. Anyway, there's sort of a cool retro vibe watching old movies and TV shows on this thing. And I know you can get them upscaled and widescreen on your phone or your computer or your TV or anything, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to have one of those little portable TVs that was black and white, and we used to take it with us on hunting trips or fishing trips. And I just have a lot of nostalgia for watching an old 4x3 show like this, Alf, in glorious 480p in a portable form factor. Pretty cool. Well, Gary, it's about time for What Did We Learn? We learned that for around $35 to $40, you can get a much better all-around version of the previous Budget King, the R36S, and outside of the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, all the components in this are going to be better and higher quality at just a slightly higher cost. And heck, these are still launch prices. You might get this for closer to $25 on an AliExpress sale. Now, with the extreme low price, you are getting some limitations, like an old as chip and no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth without a dongle. But otherwise, this is a really, really solid device. You know, there's a reason why the R36S and all the clones were so popular last year. A lot of people want to drop a couple tens on the counter and walk away with a tiny Game Boy that can play almost anything from the 80s and the 90s with very minimal setup. Now, I'm assuming you're at least one step beyond that level since you're here, which is why I'm featuring Pan4Elec. And like I said, stock isn't really that bad. It's pretty good for a brand new person, and that's the bar these companies honestly have to hit. But you can always improve on stock. There'll probably be a few more custom firmwares out soon. I know that someone has a version of Rocknix that kind of boots, so Rocknix is probably coming sooner rather than later. But Pan4Elec is my favorite so far. If you want a more in-depth review of this actual handheld, we have some on our website, we have some on our YouTube. This video is focused mostly on getting custom firmware on here. And when this first came out, I think what everyone said is, holy crap, this has the potential to be amazing. It just needs custom firmware. And just in a couple weeks, we have all sorts of options. I really like Pan4Elec. I like how smooth it is. I like how effortless it is once you get it set up. It just works. It's clean. It's very nice. And what this thing really needed was a bevy of custom firmwares to get it jump-started. I honestly think if the price on this stays the same, or if it goes down a little bit, God, if this is on sale for $25, this is the one to beat as far as super budget handhelds. Well, I hope you liked the video. I hope you like and subscribe and share everything. I need as many views and as many clicks as possible because I am in the hole a lot on that water heater and the furnace and everything in my basement, basically. I need this to go kind of viral so I can put a dent in that heater bill. And oh, by the way, speaking of dents, if you have an A30, seriously, just throw it against the wall somewhere and leave a dent in the wall or in your handheld. This thing is trash. I really don't like it. Everyone's always like, oh, Zoo, you like everything. I don't like the A30. I think it sucks. It's very unstable. Don't buy it. But what you should buy instead is the BatleXP. It's French all of a sudden. Just go with it. The BatleXP G350. This thing is amazing. Custom firmware for it is amazing. And for 35 bucks, it is cheap as all get out. So go ahead, buy one or not. I don't care. I'm not your dad. Maybe I am. There's at least 2 people I know that I am their dad. Those are my kids. But there could be more. Anyway, we'll see you later. Goodbye.